In this video, I've got one of our clients, Nate, and I'm going to be breaking down exactly how we 23x his call volume. So we took him from booking 3 appointments a month to over the period of 90 days of working with us, booking 214 appointments. And this led us to scaling up to his first 12K in a single week. And we're going to cover where we got our traffic from, basically how we were booking calls from that traffic, the sales process, and the ads that we ran to get a 7.7x ROAS. So without further ado, Nick, can you just introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about who you are, what it is you do, and maybe how you got into the space in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name is Nate Smith. I'm an online fitness coach. I've been coaching for roughly over 2 years now, helping men and women transform their lives. So, fitness has always been a big thing for me. I started working out when I was 15. I'm currently 26 now. So, a little bit over a decade, but it's always been something that's a part of my life and it's my passion, right? I love being able to help people from point A to point B, being able to fill that gap.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously that's what it's like on the front end of the business. Just for the people listening or watching. So obviously it's a fitness offer, helping people lose an extra 5 to 10% body fat, which we crafted out. And for you're selling high ticket, which means anywhere from 3 to 4K US dollars up front, or obviously split paid. And obviously the way that you sell that high ticket services booking appointments. So before we started working together, like when we first connected, I remember you were booking around 2 to 3 calls a month, but you wrote down on a questionnaire most of them were sort of unqualified at that time when you're running those ads on Instagram. I think you got a freelancer to set up for you. So like at that point in business, I think it was like maybe last October in 2024. Like if you can remember, like what was business like for you at that stage?
Yeah, so I mean, things were kind of just beginning. As you said, I was only getting about 2 to 3 booked appointments a month. And the biggest reasoning for that was just due to the ads that we were running, right? They weren't, directed towards like a target audience or a targeted persona. They didn't have a hook. They weren't eye catching, right? And they also didn't provide a solution. So those are a few things that are kind of missing. And of course, that affected cash flow on the business. So I wasn't really pulling in a lot of money because I didn't have a lot of calls, right, on a day to day or on even on a month to month basis. So things were definitely slow before kind of working with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Because I remember sort of in the onboarding like launch period when we were building out all your assets, obviously for appointment setting, marketing, and sales. You sent me the ad and it was off some like freelancer and you were putting $30 a day behind it. There was no tracking system in place. There was no appointment setting in place. So how did you even like create the ad? Was it you who made it or did you go and outsource it to somebody else?
Yeah, so the ad was created by that freelancer, so it wasn't something I created, and I didn't really have too much say into it as well. So I was throwing $30 behind it each and every day. We were getting, say, exposure, but there was no ideal client there, right? It was either random accounts or super young, or people just that just weren't even looking to improve their fitness. So we weren't getting the traction that we wanted. Kind of seemed like we were wasting money because, as you said, we were doing roughly about $30 a day behind that ad.
At that time as well, you had around 4K followers, but a lot of them, weren't exactly ideal clients. So you were getting, a couple of appointment, like an appointment a week at that point. But what did you try previously before working with us to try and convert, that them followers, likers, and commenters into clients?
I mean, realistically, before it wasn't anything too directed. I had tried posting like stories of like, hey, do you guys need a plan? If you need nutritional help or if you need help with working out, like feel free to reach out. And then just other types of content, but the content was very random, right? It was like basically if I see something on TikTok or Instagram that maybe another influencer or another coach posted that maybe did good numbers, I would try to maybe mimic it and post it, but there was no real direction, right? So it was kind of random all over the place. So it wasn't really something that was like very nurturing or even solving problems. It was just whatever kind of came to mind, whatever I saw on other people's whatever I saw on other people's platform.
Yeah, exactly. Because what I've seen in the space is like a lot of coaches and a lot of high ticket coaches, what they will do is they'll just look at what other people are posting, and that's just their top of funnel traffic mechanism. But they've got like a whole system in the back end to convert these leads into appointments and to pre-sell these leads. They've got VSLs, they've got all this sort of stuff like YouTube organic in the back end. And a lot of coaches make the mistake of, okay, this one part of the whole entire machine worked for like that specific piece of content worked, but there's no system in place to actually convert that attention or get these people pre-sold in on an appointment. And then obviously we came in and we seen that you had a good product, you had good case studies. So once we sort of installed, first of all, the ads, actually, providing nurture content, we built out your VSL, we built out your appointment setting systems. How quickly did things start to shift for you in terms of like the appointment flow and also like the quality of leads was actually hopping on the calls that you were taking?
Right. I think the shift was almost immediately. I mean, as soon as we switched the advertisement, right, we had a better hook. It was more eye-catching. It solved a problem. It displayed results. I mean, as soon as we started running that ad, we started getting followers. And then, of course, we had the appointment setter. As soon as they were following, he would reach out and then he'd start nurturing, right, to try to get them on a call. And then all of those calls, I mean, basically from that first call was a qualified lead. They were all struggling with their fitness. They all wanted change, right? They were all looking for help, and they were all, they all got their attention caught by that ad, right? So lead quality went dramatically up. I mean, volume of calls. I mean, I think we were doing, a few a day at that
Yeah.
point. And that was just in the very beginning, right? And things just got more consistent and more efficient as time went on.
Yeah, exactly. And it just goes to show because it was the exact same ad budget on the improved ads, and we had the appointment setter and the systems on the back end and the post booking processes to make sure that the leads actually show up, are qualified, and are pre sold in on the appointment. And we were actually making a 7.7x ROAS. Yeah, for every dollar we put in, we're making $7 out. Because a lot of people think that, okay, if I scale up the ad spend, I'm going to get more results. But if you're not getting any results in terms of ad spend or ROAS or appointments booked or clients signed on like a $10 a day ad spend, increasing it up to $100 a day isn't going to make any difference with you. And as we said, I think towards the start of when we were working together, we had that guy come in organically, pay in full at 3.5k client. That was like someone who was been following you for a while. I think it was like an old friend of yours, and then we just used that cash flow to invest into ads, and that's when the ball started rolling. That was at the start, and then some days we were booking 5 appointments, 3 to 5 appointments sort of every day. And I remember you posted on your story this one time. It was like your calendar's fully booked out, and this was like the stuff that you would pray for in business. So like on those days, what was it like having your calendar like completely booked out without you even having to do anything or lift a finger? You just had to post the content that we sent over to you. So how much easier did that make running the business for you?
Yeah, I mean, it made it a lot easier, right? And that was the big goal of mine when we kind of had initially talked was, you said, hey, I want you to focus on being a coach, right? You are supposed to be focused on transforming people's lives, progressing them through that journey. And how much better would it be to, if you didn't have to work or worry about that back end work? And that was a goal that you came in with. And I mean, you 100% delivered on that. I mean, just on my side, I mean, just being able to see my calendar book was one something I had never seen before. But then two, it was nice that I didn't have to do it, right? It wasn't like I'm sitting there responding to 50 DMs. I'm in the gym trying to do it. I'm on my run, worried about like if I responded in time, I'm trying to catch them while they're still active. It was always nice just to have someone in the background, always handling the DMs. And then, of course, they're responding like a normal person, right? Like they're nurturing them, they're figuring out their challenges, their goals, if they're actually an ideal client, if they have a job, doing those things that make them that actual ideal client was already handled. That way, when I came on the call, I already had a list of information from them of what their challenges are, what their obstacles are, how old they are, what they're looking to do. And it just made the calls a lot easier. Just coming in with that information, going, hey, I know I can help you. I know you're here. This is where you want to go. This is that gap, and this is where I'm here to fill that gap.
Yeah, exactly. And that's good because what we tell clients is our main two goals for you is just to obviously close clients. Eventually, when the business is sufficient enough, you can get a closer. But you coaches and consultants got into the business, well, a majority of them to serve their clients and fulfill their clients, and that's what they enjoy the most. But what we speak to and what we see is they end up just doing a bunch of client acquisition, sending a bunch of DMs, or just recording a ton of content at one time. Obviously, on those sales calls, we were able to have a 12K week on those calls that we were booking for you. And I think around that time you were chilling in Mexico with Justin. So how
Yeah.
was that? How did that feel?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was the biggest week that I've ever had on my own business. So that was a great feeling. I mean, to be able to have a 12K week, and yes, I was out in Mexico at the time too. So I believe I just had a few calls. I think I had like 3 or 4 calls just riddled throughout like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And, closed the first one, got the ball rolling, closed the second one, closed the third one. We had that fourth guy pay. And it felt amazing, right? Because I was legitimately on vacation, right, in Mexico, enjoying, we're doing little mopeds, we're going to cenotes, we're eating, from the taco truck, and like calls are just getting booked. And then I just hop on these calls, and these guys are already ready to go. They're ready to be, to move forward and go ahead and pay. So it was amazing to do it on vacation. And like I said, that was definitely the biggest week that I'd had. And they were all, one call closes, right? And they were all back to back calls. It wasn't like, we had like 20 calls and, three of them closed. It was, hey, we had 4 calls
Yeah.
and all 4 of them closed.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously you would want call volume is good, but you also want them to be qualified and actually show up in their pre-sold, which is really good as well. And I think one of the guys, Alan, like you recently just got like a really good you made a really good case study out of him that I seen on your profile, Alan. He actually came inbound. So obviously with the assets that we set up for you, so like the VSL and the client interviews on YouTube, and obviously the way we structured your profile, he actually came inbound. He watched the content and then booked in on an appointment as well. So it doesn't always need to be like us going out to them, but it just goes to show like if you set it up in the correct way, you're gonna get people coming inbound to you, and those types of people are gonna be the best clients, refer clients, and actually get the best results as well. Out of this whole time period, like what surprised you the most? Like what's something that you maybe didn't think would work before we started working together? What's something that essentially worked better, more than expected? Like what surprised you about the process?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that surprised me was definitely the nurturing process and the way that you were able to come up with content ideas. And I say that just because I had never posted content like that, where it was like, hey, we're posting this for X reason because we're posting this tomorrow, right? And then tomorrow's going to lead into this post and then this post, right? So I had never posted like that. And of course, when you try something new, you're a little bit skeptical. But I mean, the results speak for itself. I mean,
Yeah.
there was times where I'd hop on calls and people would literally bring up content that I posted and like, hey, like this piece of content is what made me book the call, or this piece of content is what really stood out to me, or this was super professional, or this helped me here, right? And at that point, that's when I realized like the content really does mean everything. So just being able to have that structure, right, really helped me a lot because it takes all the hard work off of me of trying to like come up with ideas of what to post, what's going to work the most. You guys handled all of that, which was great. All I had to do was kind of sit there, record, follow a little bit of a script and kind of fill in the blanks. But that was definitely the biggest surprise, and I think that was the most helpful part, right? Because, like I said, there were so many times where I would get on calls, and these people would literally bring up the content that was being posted.
Yeah, nah. When someone hops on call and they've told you that they've watched content or they've been following you for a while, you just know it's about to be like the easiest close of your life and like a pay in full as well. So
Yeah,
that's probably what
100%.
happened on that. It's probably what happened when we had that really good week, in terms of the business. And I've just got two more questions as well. So what advice would you give to like another coach or consultant, who right now is stuck at the same position you were at, like October last year?
Yeah, so some advice I'd give to someone that was at that maybe 2 to 3 calls a month mark as a coach is take that risk, right? Think of it as if someone is coming into your program and trying to improve their fitness, right? They maybe tried things, they've hit a plateau, they don't know what they're doing, right? But they want to get to that six pack, they want to lose that 60 pounds, right? There's a gap, and you as a coach are going to bridge that gap. So use that as an example for where you want to go with your business. If you're here, maybe only doing 2 to 3 calls a month, but you want to be at, 20 calls a month, 30 calls a month, but you can't find a way to get yourself to get there, you need to get help, right? And that's okay. So my biggest thing, man, is take that risk, right? You have other proven results, and I would say definitely work with you because I mean you guys handle everything, right? Like when I say you made my job tremendously just easier, more efficient, like more effective. I mean that with everything, right? And that's because you guys handled the content, you handled the DMs, you handled the scheduling. I mean the post booking links, you guys followed up, right, with the clients on the day that they book calls, the days before to make sure that they were showing up, even to reschedule. I mean, you guys just did everything. I mean, entered it into the own sales tracking sheet to make sure that we were always up to date. And that just helped a lot, right? So if anyone's struggling, right, I promise you it's probably because you're trying to juggle 1,000
Yeah,
things at once, right? That's the biggest thing. You're trying to be a 1v1 coach. You're trying to make sure your clients see progress. You're trying to make sure that you're posting content. You're trying to make sure that you're nurturing leads. Trying to make sure that you're sending DMs. Trying to make sure you're booking calls. That's a lot, right? You can't wear every head. So it makes it a lot easier when you can just focus on being that 1v1 coach and you can help your clients and you have somebody handling the nurturing, somebody handling the messaging, the somebody handling the social media aspect of it as well. So that would be the advice that I'd give to someone.
yeah, exactly. You can't just scale as like a one man show. And then obviously the last question to just end it off, you kind of already answered it a little bit there, so you can just keep it like kind of short. If someone was like maybe watching our videos or going through our results, maybe seeing the case study that you had and the results that you've been able to see, like if someone was on the fence about working with us or they were unsure, like briefly, what would you tell them to sort of push them over the edge?
Yeah, absolutely. If someone was on the fence of working with you, I would 100% tell them to do it. I mean, you've had proven results. I've had proven result of it. I mean, when I tell you, you come in, you do everything that you say, you're very, very professional. Everything is made super, super easy, and you can tell that you've done this before. And I mean that in a good way, right? You want someone that's got proven results. You want someone that can take you to that next level. And I think you and your team did an amazing job just overall and in terms of communication, delivery, and just the effectiveness of everything that you guys provided me.
For sure, man. Well, I really appreciate you for hopping on this interview today. Um, if anyone, I'm going to put you on. So if anyone, let's say, wants a fitness coach, where can they find you? Where should they search you up?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So at the Nate Smith Fit on Instagram, Nate Smith Fit on TikTok, and NateSmithFit.com as well, guys. Feel free to shoot me a follow if you guys have any questions regarding fitness, nutrition routine, or need any help there. I'm your man. I got you guys. So no worries, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Perfect. And if you're a coach or consultant watching this similar to Nate, not booking a lot of calls, not closing a lot of clients, you can click the first link in the description and watch that video, learn a little bit more, and booking a call with me to see if we're a good fit. But yeah, Nate, I really appreciate you for hopping on.
Yeah, brother. Thank you for your time. And man, thanks again. You guys did an amazing job. Super excited for the future, brother. Let's keep working.